Hey, it's Michael with Songbird and the Orchid over in Old Colorado City, and it's time for Songbird migration. It's April 1st, and if you want to learn how to track tanagers, orioles, grosbeaks, and some of the other fun flying birds that are going to be coming through the Front Range over the next 8 weeks, stay tuned to this video. If you're looking for hummingbirds, I did a video and I have a couple other ones posted, so check the hummingbird videos out. But this right now, from April 1st to probably first week in June, is the most exciting time to feed the birds. This is where all the migratory birds start really making their way up the Front Range. So I want to give you a couple of tips and tricks of how to attract some of these migratory birds, what to see, and when they might be coming. So right now, there are some short-term migrants that are here. I call them nomadic. Those are the juncos. They came out of the mountains. They've been here all winter. About this week, in the next few days, they're going to get out of here. The weather's going to be nice. They're going to start making their way up at the higher elevation. Goldfinch are going to come back in. They are also short-term migrants, nomadic birds. Some stay over winter and some come in from Oklahoma, Texas. Goldfinch will really start showing up in force here over the next few weeks of April. Again, it's April 1st right now. But the true neotropical migratory birds, these are the ones that pack their bags. They go to Mexico, Central America. These are the ones I'm doing the conservation work with. They really are going to start coming in force, and they come in on almost specific days. So if you have a bird tracking calendar and you know what days you've seen these birds, usually they show up within a day or two. So the first bird I want to talk about is tanagers. Bright yellow. They look like they dip their head in red Kool-Aid. They are just the buzz when they do show up. I peg them for about Earth Day. That's about when they start showing up. Sometimes they'll sit for weeks and weeks and weeks. Sometimes you see them once and then they're gone. That depends on the weather patterns. If there's snow or weather patterns north of us, sometimes, remember a couple years ago, the tanagers sat in town for just weeks and weeks and weeks, and there's hundreds of them all through the town, if not thousands. It was a really remarkable show. Tanagers love suet. I have a couple of different berry flavored suets. They are fruit berry and orange, but make sure it's not berry flavored. Make sure it's berry suet. Most of the fruit suets on the market just have flavoring in there. This actually has fruit. It's worth the money. Tanagers love the suet, but so do bears. Bears are coming out in April, so if you're in bear habitat, here's the eternal the dilemma. You want to have suet for the tanagers, but you don't want those bears as they're coming out of their dens to really rip into your stuff. So please keep bears safe, keep yourself safe, keep your feeders safe, and bring it in and out and really be cognizant of that. But the tanagers love the suet. One quick trick I've learned, take a stick and poke it through the bottom of your suet feeder. Normally, I would never recommend this because it brings starlings and problem birds and grackles and magpies. They'll sit on the perches and they'll hammer out your suet. But tanagers aren't the best at clinging to the side of the suet feeders. That'll allow them to perch and eat, and they'll appreciate you for that. So that's just kind of a trick I recommend just when the tanagers are coming through, but it's not something you want to leave out all summer unless you want the starlings to put a dent in your suet budget, so because they will eat a lot. So that's your tanagers. Orioles follow pretty quick after. We do have orioles in Colorado Springs. A lot of people don't see them because they aren't as common as tanagers, but they are really through here. And when you see them, they are, I call them safety vest orange. They are super bright. You can't miss an oriole when you see it in the backyard. Orioles love oranges. Yes, I do have oriole feeders. They're like $30. Most people see an oriole once or twice over the couple-week migration on orioles. Save your money unless you really have them all summer. The quick trick on this, get orange halves. Cut them in half. Typically you want them facing up. Again, orioles, yes, they can cling sideways, but they will appreciate the orange facing up where they can walk up and sit on like a branch or an arm. If you have a shepherd's hook, you can impale the orange on the top of that. They'll sit on the top of your hook and eat the orange. Orioles absolutely love oranges. They also use they'll use all the grape jelly you put out there for them if they can. They love grape jam. I don't know why strawberry doesn't work as much. They're all grape fans. Go figure, I'm a strawberry fan, but That's just what they go for. So grape jam is great too in a little dish combination. And if you get a chance to see an Oriole, good for you. They do come through all different parts of town and they're a real treat. But if there's not oranges or other things, these are not seed eating birds. They aren't going to come to your bird seed feeder. So without these additional offerings, you might miss these. And if you do have them out, they might stick around in your yard for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, just depending on the weather. The third bird I want to talk about are grosbeaks. I call them grosbeaks because they have a big gross beak. Grosbeaks is how it's actually pronounced, but potato, not worried about it. I'm more worried about people enjoying birds in their backyard. Grosbeaks are also kind of big birds. They're a little clumsy. They like tray feeders. If they can sit up on a tray feeder, they will. So if you have a tray feeder in your yard, this is the time to use it. Tray feeders have the disadvantages that are really tough to keep clean. They can be disease vectors. There's real pros and cons to these, but right now migration, my tray feeder comes out of my garage and I put it out for about a month. I don't always have this out in my yard in my sampling of bird feeders, although I've got plenty of bird feeders. Grosbeaks like to sit on these. They like to stripe sunflower. They have big, again, grosbeaks. We get a couple of different species that come through. The black-headed grosbeak, they specialize in eating monarchs, which is part of the reason why their numbers have taken a precipitous decline over the last 10, 20 years, because our monarchs have been declining so much. So the black-headed grosbeak, not near as common as it used to be. We also get the rose-breasted grosbeak, and that one is a beautiful bird. It's not typically something we used to get around here. They used to be East Coast birds, but they're flying up. Why fly up the plains when you can fly the front range and then curve back to your breeding territory? So it's a great opportunity to see some really good birds the next 2 months. These are a couple of tips and tricks. I will try and add a couple other informational videos and specifically on my hummingbirds in future weeks and months to come. So please stay tuned. Feel free to come into my shop anytime. We're here to help you enjoy birding in the backyard. And thank you kindly for tuning in.